Welcome back. All right, so some exciting action tonight. Now, this is an unusual setup in that there's just the one board or the one game on the first board and 4 games on the second board. So, because this game was on its own for the first hour and a half, so just for me to be tracking games, it's just easier that way. So, let us go ahead and start things off with the Chicago Blackhawks and Winnipeg Jets. And for the Hawks, it's just, to quote Zeppelin, the song remains the same. It's just, it just keeps going this way. It's Fleury versus Comrie. There was an early chance for the Hawks. They did press for that first little bit, and then the puck goes the other way. The first shot, the first chance is in the net. It's Stastny from Kopp and Ehlers at 47 seconds. And this is where your Marc-Andre Fleury mockery chants begin already. And the Hawks are already behind, even though they had a decent first shift. It's just as soon as the Jets got it, it goes in the net. And so Dubois steals one. Fleury makes the save. The Jets end up coming out of that with a power play, and they score on it. It's Pionk from Connor and Kopp. This game is 2 minutes and 23 seconds old, and that's your game winner right there. This is how things are going both for the Jets right now, as well as for Chicago. So Comrie then denied Bowden. The Jets press at 6 minutes. Kane cleared it out. Doc had a chance that was saved. Svechnikov gets a couple of chances as well. Kane had a rush chance saved at the half. Taves had a chance during a bad line change for the Jets. The Hawks get a power play. We end up with 48 seconds, a 4-on-4. It's all killed off, and the shots evened up. The Hawks are playing better in that second half. In fact, with 1:22 left, the Hawks get a power play. But in the second period, where that power play is still going, Kane had the best opportunity of it. That's saved, and then the power play ends. So the Hawks scored shortly after, but on a review it showed it was offside. And this is the luck that the Hawks are having right now. They're down 2-0. They get a goal. They think, cool, we're in this. I think it was DeBrincat. But it doesn't count. And then the Hawks press to try to get it back. In fact, the shots at this point favor the Chicago Blackhawks in the entire game. To that point, they were favoring Chicago. They were playing well. No shots for the Jets 7 minutes into this. They hadn't had a shot since about the 16-minute mark of the second period. First period. So that's a while, right? Ehlers had a chance that missed. His next opportunity was blocked. The first Jets shot was at 7 minutes and 10 seconds. The Jets not giving the Hawks very much either, though. So after a decent beginning, the Hawks start seeing their opportunities drying up, and the Jets aren't getting a lot either. Dubois had a spinorama chance that was saved. The Jets press with 9 minutes left. Schmidt fires one wide. Schmidt, again, he's playing very well for Winnipeg. I'm really glad to see him having this bounce-back season. Scheifele defends a chance for Strome, and then it's Tony Nato with his first as a Jet from Coppers, first of the year, at 13:48. Ehlers had a chance that was saved, but you could see that, like, at this point, Marc-Andre Fleury he's not good at hiding his emotions. He's well known for his smile and his happiness, but I had noticed the 2 games I saw in Vegas, he does lose his temper. He does have a temper, and that works to his advantage when a team is winning and doing well. But boy, you could tell he was not a happy camper, and it's going to get worse because at 15-17, Connor on a rush chance, it goes post and in. Schmidt and Svechnikov with the assists at that point makes it 4-0 for Winnipeg. So it is an overall nightmare, and this is really where the Hawks, they have these meltdowns. They have these meltdowns in most of their games where it just, they can't get anything to go right, and the other team can just skate right in, no problem, not bothered, and it goes in the net. Momentum's all with the Jets. The Hawks' effort had been drained to this point. With 45 seconds left, the Jets get a power play, so that rolls over into the third period. Third period, Scheifele's denied. Connor fires one high. And then shorthanded, the Hawks had a 2-on-1, and they score. Entwistle from Jones and Doc at 56 seconds. Scheifele then had a rush chance that was saved. The rest of that power play runs out. So this makes it 4-1. The Hawks are in it, or are they? Turnovers were an issue for the Hawks. Been an issue all year. They were an issue tonight as well, and kind of helped sink their chances. The Jets press at 5 minutes. Wheeler had a break. Fleury makes the save on that. Connor couldn't one-time a shot. The Jets press, though. Stastny to slap shot was saved by Schmidt there. Or Schmidt's slap shot was saved by Fleury there. And then it's Ehlers at 14:03. Beautiful goal for him. Makes it 5-1 for the Jets. The Hawks not getting shots. And at this point, you can see they've given up. And all I can think back to is a week ago. And I'd actually, this is an honest question. So we had the debate over the last week about Merzlikins telling his teammates, hey guys, don't bother, don't try to break the shutout. How do we feel about a team that you can tell in the third period they're just kind of done? The effort level kind of drops, and as a team they're like, well, we're done, we're finished. And it is disheartening. I've witnessed it firsthand in person, and it is tough. It is tough to be like, man, I'm trying to stay till the end of this game, but the team didn't. So maybe we should just go out to the car and leave. And this game in the third period, I think there are some real issues with Chicago that have made this record a complete nightmare. And if you want to say, well, maybe they're quitting on the coach, that could very well be part of it. I honestly am surprised Colleton has survived this long. Maybe part of that is due to all of the other off-ice stuff they've been dealing with. They don't want to add firing a coach to everything else. But in the last minute, Gaudette had a shot that was saved, and it might have been the best opportunity they had in the third after that shorthanded goal that you would think would have sparked him, and it really didn't. So the shots in this one were 9-7 in favor of Chicago in the first, 11-5 Winnipeg in the second, 15-4 for the Jets in the third. Final shots, 33-18 for the Jets. Power plays 0-2 for Chicago, 1-3 for Winnipeg. The hits were 25-24 for Chicago. Fleury saves 28 out of 33. Comrie saves 17 out of 18. And he had a pretty easy night, honestly. The shorthanded goal was nice and all, but he didn't really have that many times where he was really severely tested. So for the Jets, they go to 6-2-2, and for the Hawks, they drop to 1-9-2. They've won one of their first 12, but there's a team that's having a worse time of it than that. We're going to talk about them on the other board. Okay, so the New York Rangers and the Edmonton Oilers like to have absolutely crazy, ridiculous games against one another, and we as fans have to appreciate this. Also, I think we might be looking at a year where McDavid and Draisaitl, it may not matter. It may not matter who their secondary players are, or if the Oilers aren't getting secondary scoring. It may not matter. If they can score like this throughout the season, and if that can move over into the postseason, wow. The Oilers are off to the best start this team ever has been, and that includes the 80s Oilers. Although, one qualifier is in the 80s, the Oilers didn't have tiebreakers. It was just ties. They didn't have the overtime opportunities. There was no shootouts. Otherwise, that 8-0-2 start they had could have been 10-0. The 12-0-3 could have been 15-0. Could have happened. So it's Georgiev versus Koskinen. The Oilers had a 3-on-1 that misfired. Hyman fires one wide. Good end-to-end action. And then Hedl. Hedl scores from Lundqvist and Blais at 1:53. It was a deflected shot. And the Rangers go for more. So they're trying to steal one. Remember, they blew a lead against Vancouver, and they're trying to make up for that tonight. Blais hits the side of the net on the next opportunity he had. Strome hits a crossbar. And the Oilers at this point are pretty flat. Considering how strong the Oilers' record is, this is kind of a flat start for them, right? The Rangers pressed at 8 minutes. In fact, halfway through the period, the shots were 8-3 in their favor. The Oilers, though, did press with 6 minutes left. And again, it's just, they turn it on, and it's something to behold. There was a 2-on-1. Strome had a chance that was kicked aside. The Oilers had a 3-on-2 that misfired there. Better second half, though, but for the Oilers, and then they score. Hyman from Barrie and Nurse at 18-11. So, for Tyson Barrie, that is point number 400. In their last game, he had point number 400. It got taken away. So that's why I just go by what the app tells me, because there's a goal over here that I'm concerned. I think they got it wrong. But scoring can change even the next morning. You may see changes in the scoring. So, yeah, point number 400. This one counts. This one stays. He got another point after this, so even if they took that one away for whatever reason, the next one would be point 400. And the momentum had definitely shifted at this point. So we go to the second period. All the momentum seemed to be with Edmonton, and yet it's Rooney from Hedl at 2:52, making it 2-1 for the Rangers. The Oilers tried to answer. They turned the puck over. Kreider gets a goal from Fox at 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Then the Rangers get a power play. Zibanejad had a shot that deflects wide. His next one did not. He scores the power play marker from Strome and Panarin at 6:56. It's 4-1. The Rangers are ahead 4-1, and you're looking at this and thinking, hey, now they're going back to the power play. They can salt this away in the second period, right? Go up 5-1. They don't. Shorthanded chance for Hyman goes wide. They did kill that off. The Oilers get a power play. Good power play. The Rangers shot blocked. And right near the end of it, and this is the amazing thing with Edmonton's power play. A lot of their goals seem to happen right towards the end of the power plays. They're still power play goals, though. And Puljujarvi gets it from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Nurse at 14:41. The Oilers then press with 2.5 minutes left. So after 2 periods, the score is 4-2. Again, you would expect that the New York Rangers should be able to survive this, right? You should be able to lock it down. But the Oilers are so very 80s. This was Kevin Lowe appreciation night and putting his jersey to the rafters and retiring the number 4. And they played an 80s game tonight. So there was an early Kreider chance that went wide. The first minute, the Oilers get a power play, and they score on it. It's Tyson Barrie gets the goal from McDavid and Draisaitl at 1 minute. And then at 3:55, Puljujarvi rips one from Keith and Bouchard at 3:55, and that makes it a tie game. So all of a sudden, with these 3 goals in a row from the Oilers, the Rangers have lost their lead. But don't fret, Ranger fans, because Rooney makes things kind of scrappy in this game, and then Zibanejad would score from Kreider at 7:18. The Rangers are back in the lead. The shots were 7-4 for the Oilers with 7 minutes left, and you could see the Rangers were under siege in that second half, and they were really holding on. There was a post for Barrie, and then on what might be goal of the year material, he does this. Connor McDavid, all I put underneath it is wow. At 17:01, he willed that goal to happen. I know Georgiev's going to get kind of beat up for a save percentage tonight, and he was coughing up rebounds, but I don't think there's any goalie would have saved that one from McDavid. So we go to overtime tied at 5, and the Rangers might be like, well, we get a point out of Edmonton, right? So the Oilers played some keep away early in this. The Rangers did end up getting the puck, though. They survived it. They also survived Fox with a turnover in the overtime. But eventually, it goes in. It's Draisaitl from Nurse and McDavid at 3:27. So Draisaitl and McDavid stay on these amazing runs they've been on personally, and so do the Oilers. With that 6-5 win, they go to 9-1 on the season. The Rangers, with the loss, they go to 6-2-3. So they have 3 overtime or shootout loss points so far. The shots in this one, 13-10 Edmonton in the first, 11-9 Rangers in the second, 15-4 Edmonton in the third, and Edmonton gets 2 shots in the overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots, 39-25 for Edmonton. Power plays, the Rangers go 1 for 2. Edmonton scores on both. That 46% power play that I said in the video today is ridiculous. Now it's at 50%, because of course it is. Hits were 27-21 for the Oilers, so they beat them there too. Georgiev, 33 saves on 39 shots. Koskinen did not have a fantastic game, saves 20-25. They got him the win. Very Grant Fuhr-like performance that, you know, maybe he allowed a goal here or there that he shouldn't have, and yet the Oilers go, you know what, we'll just bail him out. Really reminded me of the 80s tonight. I like the 80s throwback in the way the game was played. And you see the way all the fans were cheering and going nuts. And this is why the NHL looks around and says we need to find a way to get more goals. Because while there are those of us who love defensive matchups, fans just love the goals. All right, next up. Nashville. Nashville goes into Vancouver tonight and takes the wind out of the sails of Canuck fans. But this is a worrying trend. So let's go through it. It's Saros versus Demko. Tonight proof that Demko can't save them all, and you can't keep relying on your goaltender. Pettersson had a chance that was caught. He didn't actually get on the board tonight. Again, there's got to be some concern about the production for Pettersson so far. Grimaldi had a rush chance that was stopped. The early play did favor the Canucks. The shots were 3-2 in their favor at 5 minutes. It felt like they were the better team, but the Predators get a power play, and they score on it. Yossi from Tolvanen and Granlund at 5:49. The Canucks, coming to tonight, were 3-4-1 when they allow the first goal. Let that sink in. This is game number 11. This is the 9th time they've allowed the first goal. You can't do that in today's National Hockey League. And I cannot make the argument that for tomorrow night's power rankings, they belong above the bottom row. Yeah, so there's just a bit of a spoiler because they don't play tomorrow, so they're not getting out of the bottom row tomorrow. So Hamonic fires one wide as the Canucks rush. Duchesne then with a rush chance. Demko denies him there. Höglander couldn't bury one. The Canucks get a power play. It does not succeed, but with 8 seconds left, Besser scores from JT Miller and Travis Hamonic. So Hamonic with his first point of the season. It's 1-1 after 1, and you're like, all right, so maybe the Canucks are going to survive this. Second period. Early chance for Vancouver. There was a post for Hughes on a rush. Pullman with a shot. Miller tips it. It's saved. Canucks pressure. That ends up drawing a power play, but it's another solid penalty kill for the Predators, which was offset by the fact the Canucks power play just wasn't very good tonight. Tomasino had a break. Demko makes the save there. Horvat had a shot that was stopped, but Höglander wasn't. He scores from Horvat and Pearson at 10:08. That puts the Canucks ahead. It doesn't last. At 12:26, on a rush chance, on a turnover, Duchesne scores from Granlund. Very nice goal. Matt Duchesne off to a fantastic start to the season. The Predators then sense some weakness here. They start pushing for the lead. Canucks get their third power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Granlund. It's killed off. 1:34 left. The Predators get a power play. That power play was successful. It's Tomasino. He scores again from Cunnin and Novak at 19:15, and he roofed it. Not much chance for Demko there. So it is 3-2 for Nashville after 2. Third period. Early chance for the Canucks. Höglander had a wraparound that wouldn't go. Shots are 1-0 for Vancouver at 6 minutes. So they're not getting opportunities. Nashville's fine with the fact they don't have a shot at 6 minutes because they're up by 1 on the road. We'll just kill this off then. So the Canucks get a power play. OEL hits the side of the net. We then get a shorthanded chance for Sissons. I think Nashville had better scoring chances on Vancouver power plays than the Vancouver power plays did. So that's killed off. Harper gets shaken up. He exits the game. The Canucks go back to, and it's right here on the board, back to the useless power play. It was not good. They had a 5-on-3.5 as well, because Granlund had to hand his stick off to the defenseman whose stick was broken and he had to drop it. Doesn't matter. It's killed off. Goalie pull with 1:50 seconds left. They called a timeout with, I think it was 1:14 left. Doesn't matter. Nashville wins 3-2 in Vancouver. Nashville goes to 6-5 on the season. Vancouver drops to 4-6-1. This homestand, if not for that comeback against the Rangers, be a more miserable experience. But the fans were kind of vocal towards the end of this, and yeah, you get the feeling something's got to change here in Vancouver. So the shots were 14-13 Nashville in the first, 11-9 Nashville in the second, and in the third, the shots were 6-3 for Vancouver. So not a lot of opportunities in the third. You're looking for more desperate hockey from the Canucks. And Nashville just said, all right, well, we'll just kill it off. Final shots were 28 for each team. Power plays, Nashville goes 2 for 3 and Vancouver 0 for 5. The hits were 21-18 for Nashville. Saros saves 26 out of 28. Demko saves 25 out of 28. And that's really the story of the game. That one extra goal for Nashville. Their power play worked. The Canucks power play didn't. And that wins you the game if you're Nashville. All right, next up. Arizona. So, you know, I feel really bad for Arizona right now. I will say that the ESPN Plus games, it's odd. I'm just gonna say that it's kind of odd, some of the ESPN Plus coverage. It just feels different, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's that they explain everything more or what it is, but it's just different. If you haven't watched any of the ESPN Plus feeds, yeah, it's different. So it was Vejmelka versus Stolarz. Vejmelka, of course, no support for Vejmelka. I feel bad for him because there's none. Getzlaf, they had a ceremony for his taking over as the all-time points leader for Anaheim. And to celebrate that, he gets one in the first minute. So we very often will see a team maybe come out a little flat after a big ceremony. Cue up Edmonton over here with their coming out a little flat against the Rangers. But not Anaheim, not tonight. On the first shot, it goes in. Henrique from Getzlaf and Terry at 34 seconds. And goody, Arizona is fighting their way from behind 30 seconds into a game. The shots were 3-1 for the Ducks at 5 minutes. There was then a press for the Coyotes, but a lot of their opportunities were kind of blocked to the outside. So the Ducks were doing a good job defending. Kessel then had a chance off the faceoff. He fired wide. The Ducks had a rush chance that wouldn't go. The shots are 4-4 with 9 minutes left. Coyotes get some shots at this point. Really need the goals, though, and they're not getting those. Things get scrummy at the Ducks net. Lawson Krause in the middle of that, likely trying to fire up his teammates. Late power play for the Ducks, and it's successful. So Milano scores the power play marker from Henrique and Shattenkirk at 18-13. They have 11 power play goals this year. Last year in 56 games, they had 11 power play goals. I'm just very, very impressed with the fact that this is only game 12 and they've already equaled their entire total last year for power play goals. Second period, early press by the Ducks. Vejmelka stops a net drive by Anaheim as well. Getzlaf had a shot that was blocked. The Ducks get a power play. Vejmelka saves on Shattenkirk. It is killed off. And then Sam Carrick on a 2-on-1. He buries it. A nice pass by Grant there as well. Carrick from Grant and Drysdale at 9:46. And now that they're up 3-0, now the Ducks are going to try again. Because now you've got an Arizona team that already has problems burying the puck into the net as it is. They come into today with a goals for average of 1.3 per game. Doesn't get better today. You'd look at that and go, well, they're going to at least get 2 on Anaheim. Nope. So, yeah, things get scrappy with 6:25 left. Coyotes end up getting a power play shortly thereafter. Kessel hits a post. We get another Coyotes power play. That doesn't work, so the Ducks get another power play. That didn't work either. So we go to the third period. The Coyotes finish off the kill. It was a slow start. It was kind of tough. We'll get into some tough viewing here as well. Then we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Coyotes would press during that. The Ducks end up getting a power play after that. It's unsuccessful. Pressed by the Ducks with 9 minutes left. Steele couldn't bury one for Anaheim. Terry had a shot that was saved. It's all Ducks. Kessel had a rush chance that was saved as well. But then with 8 seconds left, the shutout is ruined for Stolars. It's Gostisbehere from Fisher and O'Brien at 19:52. So Ghost gets on the board, and Arizona loses 3-1. So as bad as things are for Chicago, Arizona's 0-10-1. And tomorrow they're at home against Seattle. So we'll see how that goes. For Anaheim, they go to 5-4-3. They are above 500. I say again, the Anaheim Ducks right now are above 500. They've won 5 out of 12 games. I know, it's not like they've been world beaters. But right now, they're above 500. It's remarkable. I know it's Arizona, but still, Anaheim's above 500. The shots in this one were 15-8 in the first in favor of Arizona, 13-5 Anaheim in the second, and then 10-9 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 31-29 for the Ducks. Power plays, Arizona goes 0 for 2. Anaheim goes 1 for 4. Hits were 22-19 for Arizona. Vejmelka saves 28 out of 31 at one end of the ice, and Stolars saves 28 out of 29 at the other end. So, yeah, Stolars almost gets the shutout, and for Vejmelka, it's another good start. And there you go. The one compliment I heard towards Arizona in this entire broadcast tonight was the statement that it looks like Vejmelka is the guy they've found, that's the goaltender in Arizona, and that's a good thing. And yeah, he's been the highlight in a season that's winless. And we're 11 games into the season. Can they win 8 games out of the next remainder of the season? Can they do it? Can they equal Washington's 8 wins? I have my doubts. I did a video on it a couple weeks ago. I kind of feel like maybe I need to do an updated version because it's not getting better. It's just not getting better. All right. Next up, speaking of not getting better, the New Jersey-LA game, it's bad when the announcers tell you there's not a lot happening. And there was not a lot happening. So it was Blackwood making his season debut against Peterson. And Alexander Holtz was in. Holtz doesn't get on the score sheet, I will say this. He was impressive. He had a lot of time on the power play. He will start getting points and goals. It'll happen. Early press by the Devils. They also pressed at 4 minutes shortly after the first pressure they had here. The shots were 4-3 in their favor at 5 minutes. So the Devils came out looking pretty good. Peterson, though, looked good as well. Dustin Brown was stuck on the ice for a shift that was 2 minutes and 26 seconds. They survived that. Heischer misses one wide. Bratt with a near miss as well. The Devils' pressure drew a power play. It was a 4-minute power play. And Holtz is on the first unit power play here, too. And then we end up, after that first minor ends, we end up with 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 46 seconds. Some issues with penalties tonight for New Jersey, but one player stands out above all else. We'll get to him when we talk about the third period. And Devils fans are already ahead of me on this. Kopitar with a break. Blackwood makes the saves. Kings press with 2.5 minutes left. Big saves by both goalies to this point in the game. With 1:31 left, the Kings get a power play. That rolls over into the second period. That power play ends. They get another power play. Both power plays to this point looked poor. This was a game where both teams had poor penalty killing numbers coming into this, and they improved their penalty killing numbers. That's one thing that got improved tonight. So things are getting unfriendly at the Kings net, and this game was very chippy. This was a game that did get very, I'm not going to say it got out of control, because it's not like we had a big brawl or anything, but yeah, they could have called some of the stuff they didn't, and yet we had 10 power plays in this game. So yeah, it was a tough night for the refs too. Kopitar had a net drive that wouldn't go. Blackwood saves as the Kings press. Athanasiou then hits the side of the net. Athanasiou's speed is fantastic, but reminiscent of Mason Raymond from a decade ago, the feet are there and the hands just don't quite catch up. At some point, if Athanasiou's hands catch up to his feet again, he should be a 20-goal scorer. The Kings with some, and not to say he will be, just he could be, and he should be if he can get that back, but some players don't. So the Kings are line juggling at this point. They're at home. They want to get the lead. They want to win the game because they're at home. Devils press. They get a power play. There was a shorthanded break for Iafallo, who's off to a great start to the season, and they kill it off. Kupari then had a chance to save, but with 1.2 seconds left. So at 19:58, just before the buzzer, the game wakes up. It's Kempe from Brown and Kopitar. So it's 1-0 St. Louis after 2. Third period. Heischer took a stick to the throat. Looked like he might have to exit. It was an accidental. I guess you might have been able to call a high stick, but neither player was standing upright, so they normally don't, especially when it's a collision like that. So Heischer would stay in the game, but it was one of those ones where you look at it at the time and you say, I hope he's okay. Moore was denied by Blackwood. Trevor Moore might be the most snake-bit player right now in the National Hockey League. He's got to be up there. Hasn't got a goal yet. I don't think he has a point this season. Heischer stays on the bench, and then when he comes out for his next shift, he gets on the scoreboard. Bratt scores from Janssen and Heischer at 3:19. It's a breakaway goal, and it was a fantastic defensive play by Heischer that led to the goal, so he gets the secondary assist, rightfully so. Kings then tried to answer. As this game wakes up, once it was 1-1, the excitement starts. There's a lot of back and forth chances, and the crowd was really into it too, which makes a huge difference. Net feed to Iafallo doesn't go. Things get scrappy as the Devils get a power play. We then get a 4-on-4. The Kings go to the power play. Severson started to make his trips to the box at this point. Blackwood denies Brown. The Kings get a power play. It's Severson that's back in the box. I understand the Kings didn't have a good power play tonight, but it doesn't mean you should just keep going to the box. And it was interference. It was a penalty that he totally could have avoided. The Devils kill it off, and the hate starts cranking up. And Brendan Lemieux had a lot to do with this, too. He was definitely firing things up out there. So Severson goes to the box for a third time. And this time it was a cross-check. They called it a high stick, but you call it a cross-check to the face. And right in front of the ref. And I've been a fan of Damon Severson's in years past. I have to say, you can't be doing that if you want to be a top 4 defenseman in the NHL. I might go as far as to say, if the Devils made him a healthy scratch in tomorrow night's game, I don't know that I'd be overly surprised. Because, yeah, he goes to the box 3 times in that third period. And the third time he goes to the box, Kaliev scores from Roy and Athanasiou at 16:20. This is the goal I think is going to get changed because I'm pretty sure Danault should have had an assist on that one. So, but again, it's a nice set play off the face-off, and Kaliev gets his, I believe, 3rd goal of the year. So they pulled the goalie with 1.5 minutes left. And you're thinking, well, it's New Jersey, maybe. Kings should be able to hold this, though. The Kings are on a winning streak. No, that would be false. Zacha scores from Graves and Bratt at 19:36. Not that it's false, they're on a winning streak. They are. It's just false that they're going to hold on to it. So last seconds, New Jersey tries for the win. Peterson making saves. So you go to overtime. Kempe had a chance that was saved, but then Philippe Danault with a fantastic play puts it to Iafallo at 42 seconds. Iafallo ends it. Iafallo is off to a great start this year. Philippe Danault is living up to his contract so far. The Kings even their record at 5-5-1. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. For the Devils, they fall to 4-3-2. But again, you know, they're on the road. They get a point. It's not the end of the world here, especially considering the Rangers only got a point tonight as well, so they don't lose any ground on the Rangers. The shots in this one were 10-9 New Jersey in the first, 8-7 LA in the second, 10-6 LA in the third, 2-0 in the overtime in favor of the Kings. Final shots 29-23 for LA. The power plays, New Jersey 0 for 4, LA 1 for 6. Hits 30-26 for LA. Blackwood saves 26 out of 29. Kind of wastes a really good return game for Blackwood. And Peterson, 21 saves on 23 shots. Played well when he needed to and made some game savers in the last few seconds of that third period. Might have been what earned him the third star in the game. But anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.